I'm going to present to you now is more unconventional. It's more related to the topic. I think because you're talking about social media, and I think the presentation I prepared for you today would be more in tune with the theme of the event. About a week ago, my boss talked to me about this event, and she mentioned that the theme for the event would be the new workplace. So before, I was thinking about what to present. I was thinking about telecommuting because I already had experience working from home. I was thinking about ending the presentation by telling everyone to just work at home and try to save the planet. But then, I think a day ago, she told me to just present something about social media. So I actually stayed up until 3 in the morning trying to revise the presentation. Fortunately, about last Wednesday, we actually attended a conference, and one of the talks that was featured in that conference was about social media and how you can boost your career through social media. So I sort of patterned my presentation on that speech. I wasn't able to watch the talk, so I didn't copy all of his slides. I just copied the concept of his presentation. So I'm going to start my presentation. The title of what I'm going to present is Your Reputation Online. Because of social media, your reputation now is more visible to more people. My boss wanted me to start about, I wanted to tie it in all in the end, but I'm going to cut to the chase and tell you what the new workplace is all about. The new workplace is not just working from home. The new workplace is working online. And social media also presents that opportunity. You can work online using social media because it presents a platform for collaborating with the community. It can serve as a channel for communicating to a lot of people that's very efficient. And you can also use it as a tool for building your online reputation. I'm going to take a different approach with this presentation because usually what I like to do is I like to tell a story when I present. I feel that telling a story makes ideas stick. It makes concepts more compelling. So, as mentioned, I only joined Teletech about 3 months ago. Before joining Teletech, I was actually working for a website. I did PR and online marketing for an auction website. I left the company because we were building another social media website, and I thought the website wasn't good enough to compete with Facebook. Facebook is such a giant, and I don't know if even Google Plus won't be able to topple Facebook at this point. So I decided, I got a bit bored, so I decided to look for another challenge. Normally, in this day and age, what we do when we look for a job is we go online. Before, we had to really do the legwork and go to the offices, but it's easier nowadays. You just go to JobStreet, you select from a list of jobs they have available, and you find one that suits your expertise. For me, I saw the opening in Teletech, and one of the things that attracted me most to the job was because it's very near to where I live. It's like 5 minutes away from where I live, and in fact, a few days ago, the guard asked me where I live, and I told her I live in countryside, it's around 2 minutes away, and what the guard said was, okay yan sir, tumbling ka lang pala, nasa bahay ka na. So, that's one of the things that attracted me to the job. But the difference with me is, instead of applying online, instead of going to HirePoint, because we have that portal where you can submit your resumes, you can fill in an application form, introduce all your details, I'd rather go old school. I don't like submitting my resumes online. And one of the reasons why I don't like doing it is because I have a very weird looking resume. I can't fill in all of those details. I can't fill in all of the design in an application form. So what I do is when I apply for a job, it's actually a major production building that package, that bundle. I have to print out a copy of the resume. I have to find specialty paper for it. I have to find a nice folder for it. I need to buy CD-ROM so I can burn my portfolio, so I can submit it to prospective employers. It actually works. I think most employers find it unique and they find it interesting. But what happens is, it actually gets me into a lot of interviews. But when I finally sit down on an interview, most of the stuff I prepared are actually returned back to me. I get my CD-ROMs back, I get my nice folders back, and what they do is they ask me to fill out application form, basically copying everything that's on this already. The interesting thing about it all, again, is that it serves as an icebreaker. Most of the time when I go sit in an interview, instead of discussing my competencies, what they would like to discuss is what possessed me to create a resume like this. So in the end, I actually find that it works for me, but for a lot of you guys, it's more efficient if you do it online. The copy I put over here is style over substance. I think it's going to give you an idea of what the theme of this presentation. When I create presentations, I like to go with a lot of color. I like to put a lot of interesting layouts. So I'm not telling that there's no substance in this one, but I hope if you don't find substance in it, I hope you enjoy the style of the presentation. Anyway, moving forward, this is actually a segue. This is just the intro to the actual meat of my discussion for today. Speaking of creative resumes, this one is also a sample of a creative resume. I'm sure the page looks very familiar to you guys. It looks exactly like a Facebook page. This time around, for this resume, the style is actually the substance, because that's the topic of my talk for today. Normally, when employers look at candidates, they just look at what's on paper. But right now, because you have so many stuff floating in cyberspace, they can easily find out more about you if they just plug in a query. They can look at your Facebook account and learn more about you than what is written on your paper and on your resume. So that's something that you need to think about. That your resume is just, it's just a shallow part of who you are. And a deeper part of who you are actually exists online. And there are advantages to having that online presence, and there are also disadvantages. And those are the two things that I'm going to discuss with you today. The advantages and disadvantages of having all of your online information available to anyone who can just go to an internet shop and Google your name. This is an article that is published about a few years ago. It says that according to a study, it found out that 70% of professionals, of HR professionals, have rejected applicants based on what they found online. So when you submit a resume, chances are the HR person will look you up. The HR person will Google your name, and if you have, photos floating in cyberspace of you naked or drunk, I think that ruins your chances of getting the job. So you have to be very careful of what you share online. If you like posting inappropriate comments in forums, employers will also have access to that information. So again, having all of this access to information could work to your disadvantage. What's interesting to note about this study is that it also gauged what people think about how alarmed people are about sharing their information online. According to the study, 30 to 35% of people think that their online content doesn't affect their profession and their personal lives. In fact, it actually affects your lives in a major way. I'd like to show you an example. So it doesn't only give you a disadvantage when you're applying for a job. It could also work to your disadvantage when you are in a job already, and then you fail to set your privacy settings and limit it only to your friends. So this is an actual post. An employee using Facebook ranted about her boss, and she forgot that her boss is actually one of her friends. And when she shared it, when she posted it on her wall, her boss was able to read it, and the next day, she was fired from her job.